Happy Sunday, and thanks for joining us on THV 11 Plus, YouTube, and our Facebook. I'm Meteorologist Symone Thomas. If you have not heard from us before on a Sunday, or you're not used to seeing me on a Sunday, this is something we'd like to do every week, or as close to every week as we can. Give you a preview of what's coming up over the week ahead. Some weeks there's not a whole lot to talk about. Some weeks there's a lot to talk about. It feels like over the past couple of weeks we've been talking a lot about winter weather and how cold things are going to be. We do have a little bit of a warm up on the way, but with the taste of spring, we could see some spring-like impact. So there is a little bit more to talk about this week, especially with a holiday right around the corner. Valentine's Day is next weekend. Hopefully you've already asked your special person to be your Valentine, but if you're trying to make plans for the day, we do need to talk about what's coming up possibly towards the second half of this work week and into next weekend. So we're coming up now on 2:31. What I like to do is give this time to hit people's timelines or algorithms. So if you do have any questions, as always, you can put those in the comments and I can answer those for you. So I see we're up running on the Facebook and the YouTube. If you don't want to put your questions publicly in the comment section, you can always text those questions to us at 501-376-1111. I have that line up as well to answer any questions as we're going through the presentation. Again, happy Sunday. It's been a little cooler today than what I forecasted yesterday, and that's thanks to a lot of this dense cloud cover. Cloud cover is very thick across the state. We'll look at that in a second, but let's talk about the first week of February and how it may be compared to how we rounded out January. So we've had most of the week above average temperatures, which at this point, getting into the middle part of the month, what is considered average or our baseline in Little Rock is a high around 54, 55 degrees, a low in the morning around 34, 35 degrees, but we're talking about afternoon highs in this context. So we started out the month, we came in last Sunday, still cool behind a cold front. If you were watching this update last Sunday, we were talking about how cool it was. We only got up to 40 degrees. Well, as we kicked off the first full week of the month, we saw some pretty nice days for this time of year in the upper 50s to low 60s. Then we had another front sweep through, so we had another day in the 40s, but we've been building and rebounding the past couple of days. Friday was a really great day to get outside. If you were watching any of our newscasts, especially at noon, I was emphasizing how great of a day that was to get outside because maybe the weekend wouldn't quite match up, and that's what we've been seeing so far. The high yesterday was in the middle 50s, lower to middle 50s. Today looking to be pretty similar, whereas the anticipation was to at least get a little bit closer to 60 degrees. Now, some of our neighbors have been able to get into the 60s. Hot Springs this afternoon checking in at 61, Pine Bluff checking in at 63, Arkadelphia 62, Camden, El Dorado, some even warmer spots, 70 degrees right now in Camden. It does look like some slight breaks in the clouds over the city, but you see here in the capital city, 54 degrees, right around where we peaked yesterday. We've just been having a very thick layer of clouds overhead today, which has been limiting a lot of the sunshine and warmth we're able to get. Obviously, we could be a little bit cooler. Our neighbors in Clinton still in the 40s this afternoon, but the clouds are really making a difference because even up in northwest Arkansas, where there's some more breaks in the clouds, Harrison compared to Mountain Home, there's a 12-degree difference there, and the clouds are helping make that difference. So if we are able to get maybe a few breaks in the clouds between now and sunset, likely could see some upper 50s, maybe closer to 55 here in Little Rock, but not much more room left for warming as we continue through the rest of the evening and overnight. So cloud cover is going to stay pretty thick through the time we're checking in tonight around 10 o'clock. Then we'll start to see some breaks in the clouds. We got high pressure cloud closing in for your Monday, so we'll see some more sunshine as we head into Monday, but looking to start your Monday back in the 40s generally. We will have a few neighbors to our north and east waking up tomorrow morning in the 30s, so generally just a cold February morning, but again, cloud cover is decreasing. Now looking at the top of the work week, Monday probably going to be the best day of the week, especially if you want to be outside, take the dog on a long walk. Mostly sunny, hoping to get into the 70s tomorrow, especially with that high pressure moving in. Now Tuesday Tuesday is going to start to kick off what we're anticipating to be an unsettled pattern through the remainder of the week. Rain showers is what this graphic is describing, but what I would like to point out is more spotty to scattered in coverage. Still looking to get into the 70s, but that's as a cold front is starting to approach and work its way through the state. So Wednesday, we feel the effects of that with our temperatures in the 50s. We will see opportunity for a few showers Wednesday morning, rain coverage starting to dwindle Wednesday into Thursday as the dry air behind that front moves through. But let's look at the rest of the week behind Wednesday. I mentioned Wednesday into Thursday, we get a little bit of a break, but then we got another round coming Friday into Saturday, Saturday being Valentine's Day. Would not be surprised if before the end of the week you hear me or the rest of our team bring a little more attention to the weekend, especially because it is a holiday, possibility for some rain. But round one, again, is Tuesday into Wednesday. We get a little bit of a break, but it's a little bit cooler behind that front. Now, because Friday and Saturday is still 5 to 6 days out, the pattern at the surface is not, we don't have as much confidence in that as we do say for Tuesday and Wednesday. So right now, what it looks like based off of the trend is the front that moves through Tuesday into Wednesday. It lags to our south in the deep south. So think of our neighbors in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Front hangs out in their neighborhood Thursday into Friday, but possibly Friday into Saturday, that front starts pushing back north as that warm air is starting to dominate. It lifts north as a warm front, and then with the upper level kind of disturbance moving through, that gives us the ingredients for some showers and possibly even some thunderstorms. Now, again, there's some room for the scenario to change, and obviously where we get the warmer air and the dynamics for some thunderstorms can shift either to our south or to our north. Right now, as of today, the Storm Prediction Center isn't highlighting any risk of severe weather. So that's why we're not, bringing attention to this in the sake of an alert. This is just to put on your forefront. Valentine's Day could very well be rainy, whether that's just rain showers, some heavy downpours, or some thunderstorms. That's what we're going to be working the kinks out on over the next couple days. But 6 days out from Valentine's Day, again, as you're locking down those plans, maybe you don't take the picnic or hike for the holiday. So I want to take a moment before we start walking through the days of the week using one of our long range models and timing wise to check our comments to make sure nobody's asking any questions. Thank y'all, everybody that has tuned in so far. I do see a lot of comments and well wishes. We always appreciate that. I just also want to make sure I'm not missing any questions from anybody, and it doesn't look like I am. So let's keep going. We are going to now start with, this is Tuesday morning. Again, this is using one of our long range models that we always talk about. They show us the trend, but it doesn't give us as much accuracy as say one of our short range higher resolution models would. But several days out, this is what we're going to use to walk us through Tuesday and through the days leading up to and through your Valentine's Day. So again, this is Tuesday morning. Winds coming from the south ahead of that front we talked about that'll be approaching and then moving through Tuesday into Wednesday. By Tuesday evening, that front is starting to move through some of northern Arkansas, or it looks like that's what's starting to happen, and we've got some rain showers developing ahead of it. As that starts pushing south, that front starts pushing further south into the state Tuesday into Wednesday morning. It does look like your morning rush hour on Wednesday is going to be occupied with some rain, so something to take into account as you're planning the next couple of days ahead based off of where we're seeing these winds, because if you can see, we've got those wind barbs giving us the direction of the winds based off of where they're converging, which will be right around the central belt of the state, Hot Springs through Little Rock, Brinkley, and then across the Mississippi River. So think I-40 corridor, maybe down to some of I-30 through the central slab of the state. That's where it looks like that front could be lining up Wednesday morning, and in the vicinity of that front, that's where we're seeing some rain. You do see some different shades of green here. The lighter greens indicating maybe some lighter rain, but as you get into some darker greens, that could be some heavier downpours. So again, this is pretty much right over the Little Rock Metro for your Wednesday. Again, Wednesday morning, still a good 3 days out, 72 hours. So we'll talk talk more about what Wednesday, of course, and the rest of the week looks like as we get more of that high resolution data. But keep that in your mind the next couple nights when you're packing your the kids' clothes for school tomorrow. You're getting yourself ready for work tomorrow. Wednesday morning might be a morning you need to give yourself more time to get to your destination, because we could be dealing with some rain. Now, through the day on Wednesday, as that front is starting to push south out of the state, the rain is going with it. So we won't be spending the whole day raining on Wednesday, but again, that morning rush hour could possibly see some heavy downpours. Now, I said earlier, Wednesday and then pretty much all day Thursday, things are quiet because that front is south of us. Well, given what we know so far with the end of the week in the pattern, it looks like that front starts to lift north. We got that warmer air coming back, winds coming from the south. So ahead of that front, which in this case would be the northern half of the state, that's where the rain is starting to develop. Well, now, as I mentioned, this situation is a little bit different because the upper level mechanics are going to help try to support maybe a little bit more than showers. We could pick up some thunderstorms where you see these pockets of darker green, maybe some yellow. That could be possibly indication of a thunderstorm. Again, this is not super high resolution, so this doesn't give us as much detail, but that's kind of what we can infer based off of the trend in the scenario that we have in front of us. So throughout the day on Friday, rain coverage starting to work its way further south in the state. We still have some of those pockets of dark green and yellow. So right now, no indication of severe weather, but we could still maybe see a thunderstorm, some heavy wind gusts at time, maybe hear a little bit of thunder, see a little bit of lightning. This is Friday night into Saturday morning. Saturday morning, typically, when you're waking up with me and Tamer Knight, we could, like Wednesday, be talking about a rainy morning. Difference between Saturday and Wednesday is not a work day, so not a whole lot of commuters. But if you again have those plans for Valentine's Day, or you're making those plans for Valentine's Day, we see some darker greens, some yellows that could indicate some heavier points of rain, possibly even some thunderstorms. This will continue through about Saturday evening with the thunderstorms and heavier rain starting to push to our southeast, but still some rain showers across some of the southeastern portions of the state. That storm system, though, looks like it's pretty much exiting. And what I want you to take note of as that system is exiting overnight Saturday into Sunday, our neighbors in Mississippi and Alabama are seeing pockets of yellow and orange, which really could give an indication of severe weather. So right now, the confidence is so low that the Storm Prediction Center isn't even giving a severe outlook. But based off of what we have right now, it does look like any threat of severe weather could stay to our south. Now, again, next Saturday is 6 days out. There's room for this to change, but that's why I'm giving you so much detail, because even though I'm giving you the heads up now and I'm saying there could be a thunderstorm, I don't want your mind to immediately go to tornadoes. A thunderstorm could just be some gusty winds, heavy rain, a little bit of lightning and thunder. I do see a few questions coming in. So let me address that right quick. Could we potentially see another winter storm later this month or at the beginning of March? So let's finish the rest of this week, and then we'll talk a little bit more long term through the month, if that's okay. How are we looking for the next couple of weeks and below average? So the questions right now are just what are we thinking long term? So let's talk a little bit more short to medium term, and then we'll talk long term. So again, overnight Saturday into Sunday, it does look like that system is departing. So even your whole weekend, if you can't do the things you want to do on Valentine's Day on Saturday, Sunday could still be an option based off of the trends we have right now. We'll talk more again about what your Valentine's Day weekend looks like over the next couple of days as we get a little bit more clarity. But it does look like over the week ahead there will be a couple of opportunities for rain. Towards the beginning of the week, Tuesday into Wednesday, primarily rain showers, but towards the end of the week and into the weekend, could possibly see some thunderstorms in the mix. Now, as far as how much rain we're going to get out of all of this, it looks like compared to yesterday, these numbers have beefed up a bit. This is the forecast based off of the blend of all of our long range models. So you've seen me use the graphic before where I compare Euro model saying this, GFS model is saying this, or our graph, our two shorter range models, but this is a blend of those long range models in which you get kind of accounting for those together. So we've got a lot of purple in the state here, across central Arkansas into west central Arkansas and even into southern Arkansas. That purple is in the range of 2 inches of rain. Now again, this is the forecast between today and the next Sunday evening. So over the week, the next 7 days, all of the rounds that we've talked about, this is what we could see put together. 2 inches across a lot of central Arkansas. Well, Pulaski County, Little Rock, into Saline County, southeastern portions of Garland County, and just surrounding areas into the state. That blue is still closer to an inch of rain, maybe even 1.5 inches. You've got some of that up in northwest Arkansas as well, but right now it's keeping the bullseye with the most rain in the central and southeasternmost parts of the state. Now, I've had a few questions about long term, what we're thinking for the rest of February and into March. So I want to show you something with that as well. Our Climate Prediction Center's 8 to 14 day outlook. There was an updated map came out today. I like to refer to those sometimes and then compare that to our 11-day forecast or what we're getting with our numbers in-house. But the map that came out today is highlighting this. So we're thinking dates February 16th to the 22nd. So we're getting into that third into fourth week of the month. We're still Little Rock, Louisiana. Well, not just Little Rock, the southern half of Arkansas, much of Louisiana, western half of Mississippi, much of Texas under that bullseye of a higher chance of above average temperatures. Again, when we say average, that is like our baseline, our climate normals. So you get into that time period of the month, what's considered the baseline in Little Rock is a high in the afternoon of 56, a low in the morning of 35. So this map isn't going to tell us what the temperatures are going to be, but if we have a chance of seeing warmer than the baseline could be upper 50s or low 60s. Again, in mornings starting in the 40s. So similar to what we're expecting this week temperature wise, that looks like what we could continue to see through a good chunk of February. The last week of the month is a little too far out to, definitively say we won't have another cold snap. Meteorological winter runs through February 28th, so that's 6 more days than what we're accounting for. But right now the trend is saying that maybe we stay a little bit warmer in the 50s and the 60s. And hey, if you go outside and you look in a shaded area, you've got some ice right there. So if you're missing winter, we do still have a few reminders of it here and there, but we need a chance to thaw out right now. We need some opportunity for rain. Speaking of rain, we've talked about the rain we're tracking for the week ahead, maybe to the 8th, 9th day ahead of us. Well, looking at the 8 to 14 day range, primarily the northern half of the state in a low chance or lower chance of seeing above average precipitation, with the rest of the state seeing what's near the baseline. So that really doesn't indicate anything good or bad. That just means the amount of rain we're supposed to get this time of year is what we can get now. We need whatever rain we can get right now because drought conditions are not where we would like to see them. Drought Monitor usually comes out every Thursday. They start putting the data in to generate these maps Tuesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday, they're building these maps. Thursday is when they're published. Every state gets one, but of course we're focusing on Arkansas. We've got some areas across north central, northeast, and into central Arkansas. So that big blob you see of red and into that maroon, those are areas of extreme drought and exceptional drought. And this is even after all of the snow, sleet, and cold rain and freezing rain the state saw. Even once that started to melt, that wasn't enough to fully alleviate drought conditions. And then even the rest of the state, these oranges, this tan, that's severe and moderate drought. So any rain we could get is going to be beneficial right now. Like I mentioned, over the next week, we've got some places in the state. I'm going to go back to our rainfall map because I want to bring to you the parallel. Some of the areas that had the worst drought conditions towards Batesville, towards Mountain Home, Clinton, through Searcy and into Little Rock. that's where we're looking to see possibly some of the heaviest rainfall over the next couple days, over the next week. So, even though it might impact your Valentine's Day plans, this is needed. This is the good thing. If we can get out of seeing any severe weather and keep that to our south, we'll really be doing well. But we're going to appreciate what we can get. And if we do have to track storms, myself and the rest of the team is going to be here to get you through it, as we always are. But again, none of this is meant to induce any anxiety. This is just to give you a heads up of the week ahead, planning for morning rush hours, commuting, getting the kids to school. And then again, whoever your Valentine's is, whatever your plans are for the weekend, we always try to make plans, letting you know kind of a week ahead what to expect. Now, I want to leave on more of a positive note today. So let's talk about sunset times, because if you're like me, as short as the days have been, that has not been fun. I'm somebody that likes the sunshine, like getting outside. So the longer the sunset, the more opportunity that is to do so. Well, the sunset this evening is going to be at 5:45. In a couple of weeks, sunset is getting back to 6 o'clock. But what I'm really excited about is just a month from today, 28 days from today, or 4 weeks, whatever makes it sound the shortest, sunsets are past 7 o'clock again, because daylight saving time begins a month from today. So we are getting into the days where things are getting warmer, days are getting longer. If you're a cold weather fan, I'm not going to jump and say winter is over, but the next couple of weeks are going to show some love to the people that do appreciate more milder conditions. Obviously, once we get into these stretches where things are getting warmer, things are waking up, we're going to be talking about allergy season again. So there's a good and a positive and a bad side to all of it. But let's round this discussion out, just bringing up the 7-day again. Just quickly recapping what you need to know for the week ahead, and then I'll leave you with that. And hopefully, if you have the time, you can join us again at 5:30 for news, weather, and sports. So let's walk through the week. Monday, probably my favorite day of the week, looking to get back into the 70s with mostly sunny skies. Rain showers building for your Tuesday and into your early Wednesday as a cold front approaches and works its way through the state. So Monday and Tuesday in the 70s, but behind that front, we're in the 50s for your Wednesday and Thursday. Still technically warmer than our baseline, where we quote unquote should be for this time of year. But definitely there's a difference in 58 and 72. So you'll feel that difference Wednesday into Thursday. But of course, behind that front, things are drier. So not as much chance for rain. We'll get a little bit of a break, but cloud cover will still be pretty thick as some upper level waves are passing through. Now, because Friday and into Saturday are still day 5 and day 6, what's happening at the surface, there's room for that to change, but we do know likely in the upper atmosphere we've got some more disturbances passing through. As it does so, it looks like that front we talked about that moved to our south Wednesday, well, now it's passing through again, lifting north as a warm front, bringing the warmer air with it. As that's happening and congruent with the upper level wave passing through, we could see a little bit more than rain showers. We might be able to pick up a shower and a thunderstorm. Whether or not that's a just regular thunderstorm or severe thunderstorm is what we'll be talking more about over the days ahead. Right now, it doesn't look like a severe thunderstorm. It looks like that could be more of a situation for Mississippi and Louisiana. But of course, we'll be talking more about that through the week. Today is just kind of your first call of what is possible, especially with the weekend being Valentine's Day. Now, the storm system associated with all of this is expected to shift to our east by next Sunday. I'm gonna move over so you can see next Sunday. So even with your Valentine's Day a little bit cooler as the system is passing through in the 50s, looking to get back in the 60s again by next Sunday with more sunshine. And then thinking ahead next week, the start of next week, looks like we could see some more 60s again, then still supporting that outlook of above average temperatures through your next couple of weeks. So we're coming up now on 2:55. I don't see any new questions, so I'm going to leave us with that. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. Again, if you have time, we have newscasts tonight at 5:30 and 10 o'clock. I'll have more forecast updates. Journey Taylor will have your news updates, and Nick Lutra will have all your sports updates. In the meantime, everybody stay safe, and I'll see you soon.